What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about unwinterizing or dewinterizing a house after you've winterized it, if it's going to be vacant or empty throughout the winter, or if it's a vacation home and you just don't go there in the wintertime, to help prevent freezing of the pipes inside the home. First thing we're going to do is check the hot water heater, which we did this one, so I know that we drained this hot water heater and that we used the pressure relief valve to allow the water to drain. If you've never messed with a hot water heater and don't know what I'm talking about, there'll be a link below on how to drain a hot water heater, and just do the steps backwards basically, and you'll see what I'm talking about with the valve. But right here's the valve on this one. And all you got to do is just make sure it's flipped down so the valve is seated so water can't come out. This one's good. The valves over here, you're not going to be able to see them unless I guess you can, but turn the valves back on to the hot water heater. See, when they're in line with the water line, that means they're on. When they're perpendicular, that means the water's off. So we're making sure that it's on, parallel to the water line. Next thing, we're going to run around real quick and we're going to pull up all the taped off signs we put on all the toilets, and we're going to shut all the water valves. So when we winterized, we taped all this stuff off so nobody would use it while the water was off. And we opened all these valves to make sure that everything would drain off. So I'm going to run around to all 3 bathrooms and do that. And then I'll show you a little trick to make sure you don't have a problem underneath your toilets when you turn the water back on. So before I turn the water on outside, I'm going to remove the sign that I put here on the kitchen sink. And I'm going to close the valve at the kitchen almost all the way. I'm going to leave it just cracked in the middle. So when I turn the water on, air has a place to bleed out of the system. It's going to be normal when you turn your valves back on. It's going to sound like sputtery. That's just air in the line from while you had it closed. And we'll show you some of that when we turn the water back on. We'll open some valves. Hopefully you'll get to hear that noise and know that it's normal. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some paper towels. And I'm going to put them underneath of the valves at the toilets. Because the most likely culprit in my experience when you turn water off and back on, for some reason, the toilet tank supply line, when you turn them off and on and off and on, they tend to leak for some reason. So I'm going to take a little paper towel here and I'm going to slide it underneath of that valve on the back side of my toilet. And I'm going to do it to all of my toilets, and we'll show you one downstairs. This one's hard to see. And then I'll go outside and turn the water on, and then we'll walk back around in a couple of minutes. And if the paper towel's dry, your water line's good. So what I was talking about was just simply taking a sheet of a paper towel, laying it on the ground behind and underneath of a toilet like so. And any water that drips out of this tank or off of that valve or off this supply line is going to make that paper towel wet. And if you turn the water back on and you give it a few minutes, you flush the toilet and that paper towel stays dry, you're going to be good to go. All right. Hot water heater's closed up. Valves are on. Kitchen, bathroom sink valves are closed. Papers have been removed. We put our paper towels in place. We don't have the breaker on for the hot water heater yet, but we're not going to do that till we know we got the water on and everything's okay. I'm going to grab my curb key. I'm going to go outside and turn the water on. I prefer when I do this to have a 2-man team or 2-person team. 1 person outside turning the water on, 1 person inside just in case there's some type of disaster. So I'm going to send the cameraman upstairs to stand by the kitchen faucet, watch and listen for the water to come out, and then we'll both sweep through the house and check and make sure everything's okay. I'm outside at the water meter, about to turn the water on. It's raining out here and kind of gross, so if it sounds funny, that's what it is. Cameraman's inside by the kitchen sink. If you've never messed with a water meter and you never turn your water on and off, if he looked out here at me through that window, he might be able to see me. But if you've never done this before, we'll have a video linked in the description below on how to turn on and off your water. But when you do it, you're going to want to turn it on slow and not hit the whole house with a water hammer So I'm going to slowly turn it on. Anytime you turn your water on and off, and it's been off for an extended period of time, you're going to want to run all your sinks, fill up your traps, and you're going to want to take a look underneath. And see if there's any leaks or anything you can see obviously going on. This one looks good, but it's important that you check every single sink and all your toilets. Toilets will be a little bit easier because we put those paper towels down. Make sure our toilet filled up. It did. Nothing on that paper towel we put down. Let's go downstairs and check. Also, we want to make sure that we check our hot water heater where we turn this pressure valve off and check and make sure down here there's nothing leaking. If the cameraman goes down in there, you can see there's a little bit of water from when we drained it still sitting there, but there's nothing coming out of the bottom of that. And even though the hot water heater is not technically turned on electrically, the water is onto it, so the water is still flowing in it and through it if you have a valve open. Here's a good look at the paper towel we put down. This toilet has filled itself back up. That paper towel's bone dry. We're going to flush it. Let it run through a cycle. This one's good to go. Last bathroom. Then we can turn the hot water heater back on. All right. Check and make sure this one filled up. It did. We're going to run it through a cycle. No drips, no water on our paper towel. We're good to go. The reason you want to wait until after you've checked everything before you turn your hot water heater back on, because if in the case there's an issue and you got to turn your water back off, you don't want to forget that you have your breaker off to your hot water heater so that you don't burn up your hot water heater. So the last thing you want to do when you're dewinterizing or turning your water back on in this situation is turn the breaker on for the hot water heater. Let's go do it. You can see we put a notice on here as well so that no one would accidentally turn it on while the water was off. We're going to pull that off and get rid of it. Locate the breaker. It's the one that's off. It says hot water here, water heater, and hot water. And we're going to turn it back on. If you need to see how to reset or work on a breaker inside of the panel box, there'll be a video linked below for that as well. But that's another video brought to you by Your Home Made Easy. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more.